Well, child, let's get into this mess and let's talk about the housewives. Okay, so the show's about to wrap soon. And, we've been hearing the stories regarding that we may not be getting a new season of The Housewives with the current cast, that a lot of them are their career, their life is on the line. Their employment is on the line. Their future at Bravo is on the line. But, Teresa is living in her delusional mind, thinking that, everybody else is going to leave or she's still going to have a job. But the way everything's been unfolding and all the behind the scenes shenanigans of the reality show within the reality show where Teresa allegedly, well, I don't know, well, it is kind of alleged, but I guess because Bravo got all the tea now with Teresa spilling things in Melissa's old nose and sending, information to bloggers and giving screeners to bloggers where they're not even supposed to be getting those screeners, that the housewives get to watch the show so they can comment on it on social media. A lot of this stuff is coming back to bite a lot of them. So we have Melissa and Margaret and all of them have accepted their fate that, you know what, we may not be coming back next season. But you got Teresa and her attorney out here allegedly, windmilling and fighting, blaming the fans, blaming this one, blaming that one, except for taking responsibility for the tea that they've been putting out here and the mess that they've created. And so, Miss Mama, is that millions of dollars you make a year? I mean, per season? It may be coming to an end. And this whole facade that you have with Louis is about to blow up. So during an appearance on Kelly Ripa's Sirius XM podcast, Let's Talk Off Camera, the Real Housewives of New Jersey star, was 52, espoused the philosophy laid out in The Godfather. And that's another thing, too. This girl be thinking like she's in fucking Scarface and The Godfather. It's like, sis, you are not a real-life mafioso. Maybe you probably married one, allegedly, with Louis and all of that. But, and he may know people who know people. But, sis, this is real life. Like, this is not like it's a little fantasy world that you live in. Or maybe you do because there's not a lot of, all that saline you got in your brain. So Kelly said, you and Melissa, like, we will never see the two of you on camera together ever again. And Teresa was like, yeah, never again, never again. First of all, to me, family is so sacred. I'm all about your Italian, Kelly. Teresa, who keeps badly photoshopping her bikini photos. Oh, y'all are shady with this post. She has been getting dragged for badly photoshopping her bikini photos. And this is what she said. I'm all about the Godfather movie. You never go against the family. I live by that. I stand by that. I'm a loyal person. Yeah, okay, sis. She's sitting up here spreading all these damn lies. Because I'm like, sis, are we watching the same show? Because the last thing you are is loyal. You may want people to do your dirty work, and you may come across as you being the queen bee, and you have all your minions that do your dirty work, Jen Aiden and all the other ones. But for the most part, you talk about you're a loyal person. Yeah, you're loyal to yourself. You're loyal to your children. You're loyal to your husband. You're no good second husband. And you're no good, you're loyal to all those things. But I don't feel like you're truly loyal to your whole relationship with you and Joe. Y'all have this whole tit for tat, I hate my sibling type situation. There's got to be, I don't know what it is. I wish I knew what it was. And if people remember, if y'all could think that far back to the Housewives of New Jersey, if y'all remember why Teresa and Joe are the way they are, definitely drop it down in the comments, because I can't sit up here and remember 14 damn seasons, 13, 14 seasons of tea that have gone through back and forth with these two over the years. After a while, I started to check out with all the shenanigans. And I'm like, okay, y'all need to get off my line with the mess. I'm irritated. Oh, y'all are irritating me. Now, Kelly concurred, saying that you can forgive someone and get past it, but in the back of your head, you always know they could betray you again. She said, yeah, exactly. I mean, I did forgive him because, again, my parents were around and I didn't want to hurt my parents. My parents were so, after the christening, the first scene, my father, Teresa said, getting choked up. She continued, my parents were so upset. They're like, what? Me and my brother were best friends. We always got along. We never fought. We were really best friends until this happened, until the show. The Live with Kelly and Mark host asked if it was Real Housewives of New Jersey that started a feud between Teresa and her brother and sister-in-law. She said, well, it was like a little jealousy about that I was on the show and they weren't. And it's like, this is my thing. It's like, it would have been so beautiful for us to be united front and to show America and to show the world that instead of fighting, like, to me, this is like disgraceful. She says like a lot. She said, I tell my daughters, I beg my daughters, I'm like, please always get along. That's the only thing I only ask for is I want you four to always love each other. And if somebody has something more than the other, you guys enjoy it. Teresa added, you should all be happy for each other and lift each other up. But what I don't understand is why, when she says that, we don't get that from her and her damn brother. But I've always said the foundation of the reason why I've always felt that Teresa and Joe's, and it's funny enough they brought this up, because I think I've always said from the beginning, I feel like the reason why Teresa and Joe have had their beef is because Teresa got to be on TV, and, it's very tit for tat with her. So it's like, I've got this thing. I'm a reality star. I'm on a show. And you're not. So I get to brag and I get to boast and I get to be Miss, fabulous. I get to be Miss Fabulous and, all this other stuff. I get to wear the expensive stuff. I get to do, live the lavish lifestyle. I get to have the house that looks like a castle. With Joe Giudice at the time before the Fed stuff, the Feds came and swooped down and they both went to jail. But I got to live this fantasy, which she's still trying to live now through Louis, who I heard is way worse than Joe was. So Gorga comes along, and it's like there's this jealousy thing, I guess, calling her garbage at the christening. I do remember that. And all the things that transpired with that. And I think what happened with Real Housewives of New Jersey producers is like, oh, there's a story there. Let's be messy and bring Joe and Melissa in the show. So I feel like for the purposes of the show and ratings and things of that nature, I feel like that's why they brought Joe and Melissa on, because there's a story there. And, the Housewives, I don't know if initially the whole foundation of the show was supposed to be about just this family in Jersey, or if it was just because, normally the show has always been about, you have your cast of misfits and they come in, they all know each other, they go on trips and they do this, that, and the other. And then there's that. So I do feel like they felt that there was a story there and they brought Joe and Melissa on because there's a storyline that they could have between them and we could see all this unfold on TV. And I'm thinking to a certain extent, a lot of the show has gone to a lot of people's heads, particularly more so on Teresa's side. Because I feel like, but you want to know something? Bravo, y'all created that monster. Because the minute y'all sat there and was like, we're going to pause the season so that way when Teresa gets out of jail, we could film all this stuff. That's when Teresa was like, oh, I'm untouchable. Y'all can't fire me. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't get rid. You're leaving. Remember that last year when her Melissa was going at it? Oh, yeah, we weren't going to see you ever again. You're leaving. And then here we get the new season. They both back. So Teresa, you don't run the show. You may have thought you did because Bravo made it seem like you run the show and you are the queen bee, and which she has said out of her own mouth. And the minute you get cocky, the minute you start thinking that your shit don't stink and that way you run the show, then that's when producers will go, oh no, bitch, now I'm about to teach you a lesson. And then when that happens, then the bomb drops and then, you out of a job. It's happened to Nene. It's happened to Dorinda. It's happened to Vicky Gunvalson. It's happened to many of the women over in the show. So, Miss Mamas, don't sit up here and think that you're not expendable, because you are. So that's one of the things that's always irritated me about Teresa. And Teresa also comes across as someone who doesn't take responsibility and owns up to the things that she does. Because all this stuff that's coming out this season with Teresa and Jen feeding the blogs information, especially they were trying to bring out some receipt on John Fuda, which went to crap because it was supposed to go to the Berkshires, and the house that they were supposed to stay in burned down, so they had to scrap that. And this is from Melissa's old nose, by the way. And then also there was a thing where they were supposed to bring up more receipts at the reunion. The reunion got scrapped because they can't get these people in a room together, so they went and they did the this viewing watch party crap, whatever, that I'm probably going to look at this thing like, what the hell is this crap? So now when it's come to the point where you can't even get these people in a room together to do a reunion to resolve their issues, because that's what the reunion's about. It's like, even if you can't stand the person that you doing the show with, you have to sit on that couch and you have to address all the things that happened this season. The problem is, Teresa got a hard head and a soft damn ass, so you can't even get no word through her. She always going to sit up in there and be delusional, or delulu, as the young kids, the Gen Zers say. They say the delulu. So with all that stuff, damn, now I'm trying to sound making like I'm old, sitting here talking about the Lulu and what the kids say. So, so with all that being said, it's just like this whole season's been a mess. I've kind of been taking my time with the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the current season, because it's just I can't. It's too much. It's too much drama. It's too much ridiculousness. And then when you when you weigh the options, I was looking at it like, Teresa, you have less people on your side that hang out with you and do scenes versus Melissa's side. So who actually is the bad guy when we look at it? I'm not the greatest at math, but when I look at it, it just seems like the people that film with Melissa seems to way more so outweigh who hangs out with Teresa. Teresa gets who? Jen Aiden, of course, because this is like the human centipede. They like the female human centipede, where they basically just have each other's head attached to their asshole with the way them two be stuck together thick as thieves. That's like the white freaking frack over there in Jersey. And so you have them two together, and then you get Fessler every now and again. She like to flip flop like Dolores, where they go hang out with both sides. Although I heard Fessler was at the reunion, she was over there with Melissa and Margaret and them. But during the show, she was flip flopping on both sides, which had rubbed a couple of the girls the wrong way. But then Melissa got more of the people, more so a lot more on her side. She got Margaret, she got Fuda, she got Cabral. And Dolores did go on both sides during the reunion, or their little reunion, whatever you want to call it, the watch party. She jumped from room to room. I know her feet had to been killing her after that, all that damn walking back and forth. So I look at this as like, at this point, since a lot of y'all don't want to cooperate, since since allegedly Teresa and her attorney be doing this little messy stuff and putting things out on social media and leaking stories, and when things didn't go your way, you would get mad at saying the producers were trying to prevent you from bringing receipts out on the show. So now she's blaming Bravo, and she's blaming everybody except taking responsibility for her actions, and she being messy behind the scenes, her and Jen Aiden, that I feel like at this point, what direction could we go? Could we just make the show about Melissa and Melissa be the new queen, and then we have all the other women that surround that? That would piss Teresa off. That would send her. That would send her off the edge if y'all did that, because she felt like Real Housewives of New Jersey is her baby. This is a show that she's been a part of since the beginning. I think she's like the only main cast member from the first season. And then everybody else is kind of relatively new, outside of her brother and her sister-in-law, because that's family, even though they don't speak and they don't film together. And my thing is, if y'all can't do the reunions and stuff, then y'all need to just clean house and start over. But then again, I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Maybe it's time to just cancel Jersey altogether. And like what Onyx, I believe, friend to the show, has suggested is in the comments, when we talked about the Housewives before, y'all need to go to another state. Go somewhere else and do Real Housewives of Connecticut or Real Housewives of Delaware or something. I don't know. Y'all need to pick a whole new location and start with a whole new group of people, because if you can't get these people in a room together and film scenes when that is part of your job, and you can't even come and do a reunion when that is part of your job, then you know what? Y'all need to be unemployed, because if you're not willing to come to do the job that you get paid millions to do, then you need to say, then I hope you saved your coins, because it's time for all of y'all to sashay away, quiet as it's kept. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of all of this with the whole thing with Teresa about she'll never film? I mean, we obviously knew you weren't going to film with them because you barely filmed with them this season. And y'all don't get to control the narrative of, if you're a producer, how you're going to produce a show. If these stars are going to make it difficult for you to film a show that they should be so grateful that they're getting paid so much money to be a part of, then it's time for y'all to be unemployed and start with some people that would love to be in the position that Teresa and the rest of them take for granted. So let me know what you all think of this story in the comments down below.